And that's in terms of software. And in terms of language, you're gonna have to err a lot and make a lot of errors. You talk to speakers, native speakers, they ignore you. Like it's a frustrating process. But you'll learn if you put in the work.
I see a lot of content out here trying to distill like very complex ideas in very short amount of time. And I'm here to tell you from the other side of like learning a few things in life, that it does just not, no, it just does not work that way. Um, my name is Taha. I am from a computer science background. I have a master's degree from a computer science, leading computer science institution in the US. Originally come from Sudan. I grew up in Sudan and spent like 19 years, the first 19 years of my life in Sudan. So what I want to say today is that like when you talk about a very complex idea, like say you want to learn a new language, right? English learning was a struggle for me. And in terms of very technical things like software engineering, especially machine learning and natural language processing, um, and topics in AI and stuff, learning has not come easy. Uh, and what I want to say here is that like you can't just have these quick like 1 second. Here's all the resources you want to for learning JavaScript or something like that. That does not get you there. It just does not work that way. It just does not. One of the things that you will learn early on in a computer science program that there's just no substitute for hours and hours of debugging. You will have to learn things the hard way. And there's just no shortcut to success. There's no proverbial elevator to success, right? Like you would have to sit down and learn these things and cry about them in the process, um, and then question why you're there in the first place. Um, and that's the hard thing about learning hard things, right? You would have to ask a lot of questions, and you have to like be okay being like asking stupid questions, right? And be okay with the looks that you get or whatever the hell. Don't care about that. Just move on. Learn what you need to know. Okay. Um, you also need to like kind of like immerse yourself in an experience that like, for example, um, when I want to learn something, I have a YouTube channel that is just dedicated for like learning resources. And when I get in that mode, I am just only focused on material that like serves that purpose only, because there's just a ton of distractions otherwise, right? Um, so, and for learning language, for example, and I have two learning themes, right? Like the learning language and the learning software. The learning language, um, like English, one of the things that really helped me a lot was listening to a lot of podcasts for learners of English. I don't know if they're still there, because like the time I remember when I was actively trying to improve my English from intermediate to advanced, was around 2013 or so. And then just living in the US, and and not only living in the US, but actively engaging with speakers of that language. Another thing I want to talk about in terms of like software, um, you would have to like learning Python, for example. For me, I come from a hardware background, so I studied C and C++ in undergraduate, and and then I had to learn Python for my internship. So I picked up a book and learned the basics and like put myself in front of the interpreter and like debug my way out of problems. And that sort of just gave me like what my friend Al Noor would say, like a metaphorical infrared goggles or glasses to see through things that you didn't see before. It gives you access to new ways of thinking, and that's ridiculously powerful. Trust and believe. Um, Another thing I want to talk about in terms of learning English, other than immersing yourself and asking a lot of questions and choosing to look stupid, and all of these things, by the way, are from like my One of the mentors I've met in life, Asi Qureshi. I'm gonna link his post in the descriptions. A lot of these educational materials trying to promote, I think, is more like an entertainment or like an aesthetic of like watching something that is informative. Like these are very highly produced videos. There's like a lot of color involved, a lot of backlights and screen colors and like an engaging experience. It's more of a fun rather than a hardcore learning, because the main feeling when you're learning something that is actually worth it is that of effort. You're gonna put in a ton of effort to get to something that you want. And this is from uh, the former director of AI at Tesla, Andrew Karpathy, who's currently at OpenAI, um, the makers of ChatGPT. Is not about being fun. It's about being informative. And like the two, like the short, quick, and dirty, and like scroll up to do this and like comment your favorite below or stuff like that, you know, that doesn't actually achieve the goal. You have to face your interpreters, you have to write the code, you have to debug it, you have to be frustrated throughout the process until you learn something. And that's in terms of software. And in terms of language, you're gonna have to err a lot and make a lot of errors. You talk to speakers, native speakers, they ignore you. Like it's a frustrating process. But you learn if you put in the work. All right. These are my rough thoughts. If you want to know more about my hot takes about different things in life, just go to my page. I'll see you there.